Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Greg.
Do you want to make a podcast?
Let's do it.
Great. Just need to put my screen down first.
I have been hanging out with a lot of people talking about a lot of things, but one thing that keeps coming up over and over again is this idea of privilege in putting down your screens, like you just said. And what does it mean to put down your screens when you have a corporate job or when you have kids who are going to have to go out into the world that you're removing them from? And so we were talking about the privilege of opting out is basically what I wanted to talk to you about today.
Shouldn't people just unplug and not check their phones and just not give a shit what's happening on the internet or at work or on social media?
I think there's tension there, right? I think there's tension between needing to do the things that you need to do to survive a fire hose of information, the negativity that can happen in social spaces, also the proclivity that humans have to reiterate a thing over and over and over again and exhibit, I don't want to say addictive behavior because I don't disagree that could be an apt term here. I'm not a diagnostic clinician and I don't want to say that. So everyone's like, oh, well, I'm addicted to this. That's not my place. But in this sort of discussion, can we put our phones down? And I would just argue, okay, but when do we pick them back up? And when is the time to do that? And also, I think we need to sort of change the tone of this conversation. I'm a little feral about it, to be honest.
Because everyone's coming from their own place. So you hear things like, I never post my kids on social. We don't do tablets in our family.
Yep.
My kids don't do screens at restaurants. I don't check my work email after 4 o'clock.
Yep.
I don't need to pay attention to social media. And truly, like, boundaries are good.
Absolutely.
But a person is not a person is person.
Right.
And so, for example, I work in social media.
Yep.
And it is my job and my team's job to know what the heck is going on every single day.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you have to be always on and hyper-focused and not having a conversation with someone not looking at your phone, or that there aren't times that you can be unplugged. But what it does mean is if someone is like, well, I don't even look at social media. It's like, cool, but my job is in social media, so I got to look at it.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things that go unsaid in that sort of conversation where they're like, I don't even look at social media, right? Like there is kind of a classism that can happen here where if you're working in a field or working a job, or if you're not, and you don't have to, if you know, there's a million different iterations of that, but saying I am better than this, or I don't have to do that, or I'm making a choice to withdraw from this is actually giving information to someone about who you think they are, right? Like Esther Perel talked about this a lot. Just when you withhold that sort of context, you hand it to someone else to hold, right? And so inevitably, this conversation has become one where we shame each other, and we shame it through erroneous statistics. Jonathan Haidt is brilliant at this, right? And he's like doing a world tour right now with Prince Harry and Meghan, who I adore, and I'm very upset about this. To be clear, I think what they're doing is important because they're trying to set boundaries around social media for kids, which please do. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
So like
be an active participant.
Like put your platform to use. Like I'm not mad about any of that, but I am mad about this idea that you pull a tablet away from a child, you remove a digital space, or say, like they need to be outside, they need to be doing those things. Children require care. And most of us don't have staff.
Yeah.
We don't have staff. I don't have a nanny. I don't have a crew of nannies that rotate 24 hours a day. I don't have a sleep-in nanny. I didn't have a night nurse. I don't know anyone who does. Anyone in our social circle, like We don't have access to the resources to be able to help ourselves. Our villages are small and non-existent, and we are mothering alone in 2026. And the ways that we're mothering together are very few and far between, unlike the villages in the past, right? Like Hillary said, it takes a village for a very specific reason. Working parents, working mothers, you are putting all the onus on this discussion on them, and it's not right. Like, it's not right. Most of Americans don't have staff.
Well, there's very much a moral glow happening here. We're not saying kids should be on tablets all the time. We're just saying, like, maybe like a kid on a tablet during a long play ride or in a busy restaurant is maybe not the end of Western civilization. And also, maybe people who are like, oh, I don't even use Facebook. It's like, some people have to sell stuff on there.
Some people have to sell stuff on there. I know a lot of people who that's the only way you keep in contact with family members. That's the only way you are able to see them.
So
if
a person
you have a
is
large,
not a person.
Right. Like
here.
There's so many reasons why a person chooses to engage in social media. And if we zoom out 1,000 feet, how long has Facebook been a thing, Greg?
More than 20 years.
How long has Instagram been a thing?
Probably almost 20 years.
Twitter?
This isn't fair. LinkedIn is 21 years.
LinkedIn is 21 years. But like what I'm saying is this is a multi-decade institution at this point. And the fact that we're still having this conversation about whether this is infrastructure is really bizarro world to me. And it's another sort of microcosm of the culture wars that is just not fair to a normal human.
And so also we have learned a lot. And in our family, we talk a lot about neurodiversity and infrastructure, and that sometimes consuming media can be a form of regulation.
Yep.
It can be a way to be interested and consumed in something that is in a healthy way.
Yep.
And again, that is not a replacement, and that does not mean that we are anti being outside, doing other things, coloring in a coloring book, but the quick jump to completely vilifying anything that's on a screen, it seems a lot similar to the whole boob tube thing and us growing up watching Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, which now those are held up of like, if only the content was like that. And it's like, hey guys, when we were that age, that was seen as rotting our brains. Literally, they said we were rotting our brains.
I mean, you can go all back to the advent of the phone, the advent of writing, of the printing press,
back into
right?
moral panic again.
Literally, we are stepping into a moral panic. And I think the reason that I'm so like kind of feral about this is because there's multiple levels of any conversation a society has, right? So you have the overarching theme of everyone's like, okay, we've handed the public all this technology. These bad things are happening. So now we're going to pull it back, right? And down in the middle of the practicalities of the tech, right? The daily use of all of these things. These are e-commerce platforms. These are ways for people to organize and to find each other in an increasingly fragmented and segmented population. You have an economic crisis happening that people are leaning on these platforms and these mechanisms to make bills. And they're starting side businesses. Most Americans don't just work a day job. We work a day job. We have a 2-parent income household, and then they're doing a side business or participating in the gig economy, right? This is not a place where kind of the upper echelon can just pull a rug and remove and add this technology and act like, oh, it's not a big thing. Because at this point in the game, we're 25 years in or whatever, 21, whatever. This is solidified infrastructure. And instead of shaming and doing a all or nothing sort of a rug pull, we need to really be thinking about how we're having these conversations intentionally with each other.
So I want to read a Reddit post I found. I'm not trying to be super targeted with this, but I see it all the time, and I can't deny it's from parents in a certain age group. I can understand if screens are a way to keep kiddos chill during public outings. And I do think sometimes we overindulge in how much screen time we let them have, but that's beside the point. I don't think the devices themselves are so bad, just not loud enough where you can hear it from the parking lot. My main question, are we okay with them blasting it at max volume? Like, you can hear that, right? Sometimes it's to an absolutely obnoxious degree. I get maybe it gets tuned out after a while for the parents, but it feels like the most basic public courtesy is at least turn it down. How do you feel about that one?
So that one, I think there's a real issue that all adults, not the children, all adults have with speakerphone, speaker issues, right? We all have these portable devices, whether they're an iPad, a laptop, a phone, and we all have a lack of spatial awareness and a lack of understanding that the things that we're watching, playing with, everyone can hear. So I dispute the point that this is a kid problem. This is an adult problem. I'm a Minneapolis person. You guys go check out Jason Matheson's crusade against these humans in airports that are like doing speaker calls. And this is not like somebody's watching Saved by the Bell. This is a guy closing a deal in the airport, right?
And they're in the restroom stall at the airport.
In the restrooms, you guys.
On speakerphone.
Oh my God, you guys.
It's disgusting. And also, I can hear the terms of your deal, sir, and then they can hear everything else that's happening.
As an accountant, I just want to remind everyone what the legal ramifications of that are. And your CFO is not going to like that.
You're so worried about AI recording, and yet you're walking.
Close the deal, my friend, in private.
I got my annual physical this week. I would like some kudos, even though...
None provided. You're late, and you should have done it years ago. And Nathan Wright will back me up on this, so...
There were two people who are older than me. We don't need to vilify any sort of generation, but just for this example, they're older than me, watching Facebook Reels with their audio on, sitting next to each other in the waiting room of a small doctor's office.
There is a real need for us in this conversation not to practice the very vilification that we are ascribing. And I just want to point out, like, this is a meta moment, but this is why this conversation is so difficult, right? Because we find the segment of the population that annoys the shit out of us the most. And then we're like, fuck you, buddy, turn your speaker off. Now, to be fair to generations older than us, they don't have a lot of understanding of like earbuds or, you know, whatever. There's also, most of us are garnering a certain level of respect, and a lot of people aren't going to say anything to those adults. Now, a lot of places now have signs up, right, that are like, this is a stress-free area. Please do not close your deal here, sir. Or please don't watch Facebook Reel. Turn your ringer off. But literally, even today, we were at a Memorial Day celebration today, and we were with people who were a lot older than us who are wearing angry t-shirts about the very thing that is happening, where like their sound is going off, their alarms are going off. They can't even hear that. And yeah. I'm just saying there's a hearing thing happening where you start to lose your ability to hear, and like they can't hear the alarms. They can't hear the thing. I mean, we have personal experience with someone losing their hearing.
Or the thing where like the alarms, the phone's ringing audibly, which is crazy because I haven't had my ringer turned on for years.
Right.
And it's ringing and you lift it up and look at it while it's ringing at full blast. And you're like, oh, maybe I will answer it.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, right? If you think about what society looks like now, and I was talking about the lack of a village, right? And so a lot of families are spread out across the country. A lot of people, you and I included, don't live close to our parents, to our siblings. There's a lot of like spread that happens once the children are grown, they move out of college, and then they jump off into the ether, right? And so a lot of this learning about how things work, technology, all this stuff isn't happening. If it was our parents or our parents' parents sitting next to us at a thing, we would take that as a learning opportunity, right? The sandwich generation, it's kind of falling on us, right? Like we have to teach the children and we have to teach our parents, right? Like, oh, this is the social norm. The minister asked you to turn the sound off on your phone. That doesn't hit your alarms, Mom. So do you have any alarms on right now? It's our job to help each other. It is our job to know each other. I'm really disappointed you didn't ask me if my alarms were on, Greg, because we all know I do this all the time. I literally open my phone and turn on Instagram to check a comment that came through for the cave project during the ceremony. And like, I was one of the people, like my phone went off and I looked at Greg and I was like, yep, I did it.
So they're next to the Veterans Memorial. They're putting a memorial up for left your phone ringer on.
Yep. And
it says Jenny Swan now.
I have a plaque in the town square now. The lack of a village, the lack of a social construct when there's not a lot of infrastructure around the social norms leads these kind of bleeding holes, right? And also people older than us, people our age, like we're losing our memory. Like we forget things. We forget to do things. There's a whole segment of the neurodivergent population where this sort of executive functioning is really hard, actually.
It is.
And so I think like infrastructurally, we have to come up with some helps, right? There needs to be a sign when you go to the airport, like when you check in, there needs to be a sign, like turn your sound off. You're with a million other people who are really pissed off about traveling today too. So don't like put your thing in the tub and like shut your phone off, right?
So now I'm going to read you a Reddit comment that I found that I think is more what you were expecting. I do like how the one that I read to you immediately changed this conversation from damn kids and screens and parenting to like, oh, actually.
And this is the thing you're going to find with Jenny Swan is like everything a child does is usually in line with their cognitive development. And so who provides the parameters for cognitive development for children? Adults. So if you are pissed at a kid,
I'm not sure
it's the adult's fault.
Am I an adult now, though? I don't want to be an adult.
I know, it's really, really tragic. You are mostly an adult, except when you forgot to round up your village and tell your wife to turn her alarm off today. But
so this says, I work in the restaurant industry, and more often than not, parents will bring their child or children in, and the child will already be on their iPad. They're so locked into their screen, they will run into people or ignore their surroundings. At dinner, I've seen parents allow their children to wear headphones at the table while being on their iPad.
Are you kidding? I have to take a minute. I'm going to go throw up in the corner because you picked this one on purpose because this is the one that I get feral about because we have literally had this conversation with waitresses. Okay. And Greg, who do they have the conversation with? With
the mom, of course.
With the mom, of course. Right.
Yes.
They didn't come to you.
Well, I'm also probably looking at my phone.
Okay. That's okay, fair. They're like, well, the dad. Yeah, no.
I was like, thank God the menu's on a QR code because I want to look at my screen some more.
The waitress comes to me and is like, well, I don't believe in children's being on screens at the dinner table.
Sure. So,
and this boils my blood for a myriad of reasons, because that is also the same woman who will write a scathing Yelp review about the children running rampant in the restaurant, and I can't even enjoy my potato soup because the children are so feral. If your child makes a sound on an airplane, like there's going to be a fight on the internet about it. There is this idea in American society still, and it's getting worse because of the administration that's in the seat of power right now, that children should be seen and not heard. It is pervasive. In the Midwest, it is almost like untenable.
It's like anti-kids. We're like, kids should be kids, and I wish they would just play more. And then when they're playing, they're like, they should shut up. Because here we have a Reddit post saying, how dare they have their audio on? And we have a Reddit post saying, how dare they're wearing headphones? And then it's like, they're running crazy, or like, why can't they just sit still and color? And you know what? Our kids sat still and colored a lot.
Our kids, we went to a church that they had to sit in church. Like our kids had a lot of practice at sitting quietly. Also, I have 3 neurodivergent children. And I was really, really intentional about when was time to be a lunatic and when was time to think about the other people around you. My children were generally pretty silent in restaurants, and it didn't matter what I did to be clear.
And that people still had feedback.
People still have feedback because this is what happens. You shame the children who then feel bad and don't understand because they're minding their parents. And that's just like horrible because they're listening to their mom and dad. They're relying on the direction of the two people that love them the most, or the one person, or the auntie, or whoever it is. They're relying on their adult, and their adult is guiding them. And so when you shame a child in a public venue, that, first of all, that's not your place. Stop talking to children in public. No, I'm serious. Like, if you don't know the child, you either have a banal conversation about Toy Story or you leave them alone. Like, if you cannot be kind, like, there's no reason. And just stop. Number two, like, creating this sort of moral confusion and dumping it on a child, like, that's impactful, actually.
Absolutely. Well, and there's a lot of feedback right now on restaurants that are going out of business. And it's like, well, why aren't more people going there? And
because the waitress is going to blow you up if you don't do the right thing, or grandma at the next table over is going to come over and tell you how terrible you are. I have to tell you, I've also had dinners where our kids were silent and the grandma on the next table would come over and tell us how well behaved our kids were.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so there is this idea out there that parenting is based on the behavior of children. And it's an outdated, antiquated idea that resides on this idea that children should be seen and not heard. And all of it is about 50 years out of fashion. It doesn't align with child development. It doesn't align with child psychology. And it's harmful. And what you're trying to do is shame parents into aligning with your value system, which I think is an erroneous value system on the face.
So you have Prince Harry and Meghan Markle being very anti screens and tech and social while highly benefiting from it now.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing. So I want to be careful with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Number one, because Meghan Markle has had such an influx of hate and she doesn't deserve it. Like everyone knows I love Meghan's TV show and I love her products and I love who they are as a like what they present to the public as a brand. I love them.
Sure.
And I think that they have taken this mantle on due to some of the charity work that Harry has done around teenagers who have met unfortunate endings due to some social media activity. And so they're looking at this from a very specific lens.
Sure.
Of this could ultimately lead to death, right? I don't think that statement is necessarily wrong. And I don't think it's necessarily something that we shouldn't be working for. Because if you let loose a child who doesn't have the right tools or capacity or developmental supports, they are absolutely right. That could lead to death, for sure. So that got it. But what I think the problem tends to be with a Jonathan hate-like object is you put a whole bunch of bunk statistics behind it. You create platforms, you sell books, you go on speaking tours, and
memeable one-liners.
And
that's what people are sharing, not the...
You're contributing to a specific value system that is asking to pull this thing out of society and just not use it.
So there's another piece here. So if we talked about parenting, we talked about how it's actually everyone, including ourselves, and how even our own experience with our 3 kids, even our own experiences as individuals is not everyone else's, right? We're all different.
Right.
And then there's kind of this other side of this in the privilege of not posting.
Yeah.
And our friend Garrick Van Buren told me 10 years ago, probably, like at the height of Twitter and making friends on social. And he said, I think in the future, it will be seen as a sign of affluence to not have to be on social media. And isn't it fascinating as we think about where we're at with our jobs and careers or creativity or wanting to sell something, networking, local information, to not have to participate on the internet or in devices or in social media is truly a privilege.
Yeah. So this is where the AI conversation gets really hard for me personally, because we are going to a lot of events right now, and there's been a lot of emphasis on the human and keeping the human in the room, and just this idea that somehow someone who is not a leader in the company has the option to opt out of AI. And I think the reality of what the AI landscape is for those of us who aren't in leadership, and I'm just going to say from the outright, I'm not speaking from anything about anyone I know or any companies I know or anything. I'm just saying, like, people I have talked to, companies have rules about how many times a day you have to use it, what you have to use it for. It's built into people's performance metrics. It's built into people's jobs now in a way where there's no option to opt out. If you don't do it, you have the potential to lose income or your job as a whole. So this is not a thing anymore where you can just be like, well, we don't use AI because it eats up so much water. Well, I would like to eat this week. So if I don't use it, if I don't participate in this dynamic, I'm not going to have a job. And I would like to remind everyone where the economy sits right now. Gas is $6 a gallon. Like, if you try to go to the grocery store right now, we just took our family to McDonald's. It was $80 for 5 people. My dad used to pay for 6 of us with a $20 bill. And he would get change back, y'all. Like, this is where we're at. So telling people that they can't use it and it's immoral and like all of this stuff, like, we're past that point. That ship has sailed. And I'm not talking about like random like tech companies that are doing this. I'm talking about, I work in finance. And so I'm talking to people in finance roles. I'm talking to people in HR spaces. I'm talking to people all over the spectrum. I'm not a social media guy. I'm Jenny Swan. So I don't just hang out with social media people. This is happening across corporate everywhere. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. I'm not going to say any company names because that's not what we do here, but like, this is happening in big corporations, especially. So this moral quandary, which is important. Like, I think these discussions are ones we have to have. I think there is pushback that has to have, but I think we're missing the point here that like this has moved to another level.
Yeah. So we obviously are very pro-human.
Yeah.
And we're so pro-human, we're saying it is irresponsible to say, I am pro-human, so I am anti-AI at this point in 2026, because the change that happened on Google.com this week, or for the first time in more than 20 years, the Google search blank is now an AI generative prompt engine. You can't even search for the word disregard and get the definition of disregard anymore because it takes it as an AI prompt. Did you see that?
I did not, no.
Hilarious. So,
but to be fair, I have been using it that way since they added the AI blurbs underneath the search thing. So I may not have noticed. I use Google all the time because I'm old, but like,
this is a significant change happened this week, which means not only is AI coming into your company if it hasn't already, and not because it's a hype, but because there are actual efficiency optimizations and smarter tools there. It is also because you can't even just search for something without AI anymore. And even though you might decry that, you may be like, well, that's not okay with me. Cool. Like, I don't know what to say because it's here. It's like being angry that computers came into the workforce. It's literally the same thing.
I think it's an important distinction, though. You do have the right to be angry about that. And you do have the right to advocate for change and for, whatever sort of mechanism aligns with your value system.
Sure.
I think the environmental impacts are important. I think all of these things are important. But I think at this point, we have to stop acting like we can opt in or opt out.
Which goes to that idea that it is a privilege to be able to say like, oh, well, I don't use AI ever. Just like it's a privilege for Bill Murray to say, I don't use email, and the only way to get in touch with Bill Murray is to leave a message on his answering machine.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that are like, oh, I don't do text messages. If you want to, you got to call me. Yeah. And
if that's working for you, that's good for you. But that is not something that is necessarily accessible to all of us, right?
Well, and I think the problem that you're going to start to have in corporate is that, okay, say you do find a company, which everyone can do, right? Like we do have limited rights as corporate humans where we can take different jobs. I would say in this market, that's becoming increasingly less, likely. But you can take a different job. But let's say you do that and you go work for someone who doesn't require AI. What if that company folds? Not that they would fold for not being forward thinking, but like, what if they fold and then you have to go back into the marketplace and then you don't have that marketable skill? Because that's the thing that we're up against now behind. Is now this is a marketable skill, which means all of the kids, the thing I'm worried about as a mom, who has a college age kid who is actively we have 3 very anti-AI humans in our house and they're allowed. That is a right that they have.
I think the dog is like so-so. I think the dog's like 50-50.
Yeah, the dog really liked her astronaut outfit, so she's like, I think it's okay. Yeah. Actually, Dad put me in a game. Don't worry. But is this idea, like we're watching, and we're going to talk about this in a later show, but we're watching these kids like be very angry. The graduation, thing just happened where everyone's they're getting booed on stage for even talking about AI. Like the problem that's going to come is these kids already can't get jobs. They're already coming out of college and there isn't a market for them. And now they're up against this concrete thing, which is not unlike other generational things.
But it is a tangible, real thing. And especially when some of these quote unquote thought leaders or famous people, they're saying one thing, but also they have a team of people who are posting for them. And so the privilege of not posting maybe doesn't mean that you're not posting. It means you have a fucking staff, just like maybe the privilege of not having a nanny to watch your kid for 20 minutes so you can take a shower means you're going to turn on YouTube Kids.
Yep.
In the same way, again, that our parents might have turned on Sesame Street for us.
Yep.
There is a privilege there. There is an unacknowledgement. Is that a word?
Lack of acknowledgement.
A lack of acknowledgement that there is privilege in saying, I'm going to opt out of that. And that doesn't mean, I think you made a really good point. That doesn't mean that you have to be all in. And in fact, we shouldn't be, because we do want to be pro-human. We do want to think about where that is.
You need to
and being pro-human is being realistic too.
Yeah, and I want to caveat all this with, we saw how social media went. We know what happens when, there's this kind of unbridled energy and optimism behind a technology and it doesn't get, moderated effectively. Like we know. My point is not that whether that's right or wrong. My point is the normal in the room is already being asked to do that work. We all are. I've talked to so many people this week that this is a skill versus a prompt.
Yeah.
This is like how you use AI to write the email without writing the email, right? Like this is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Like these are people you should follow. These are, because now the other problem we have is there's all of this learning that's been like stood up and it's bad. Yeah. Because when you have technology moving this fast, the education can't keep up. And so every week as these systems iterate and change and level up, the last week's education is bad. Yeah. And so I think understanding the pressure of that. And so you have the pressure of learning this skill not to lose your job. And you have to use it, say that you have to use it for one task and you have no AI knowledge. And also, you have a job that is, let's just use, nobody I know works 40 hours a week, but let's just pretend that someone works 40 hours a week.
That sounds great. It sounds like a vacation.
I know, that sounds lovely. So we're working 40 hours a week and most people, those hours are accounted for. I have deliverables that align to my 40 hours a week. But now I've added another deliverable because I think what we're missing is this is being sold to the working populace as this will make you more efficient.
Oh, there's no time. It does not gain you time.
It doesn't give you time. It's another deliverable.
Yeah.
And so you're taking a stressed population that is already crunched for time, already trying to, in your job life, just get your deliverables met, do a good job, be fulfilled, do passionate, purpose-fueled work. And then most of us, a lot of us, then we have the nature of living outside those 40 hours, right? And that looks different for everyone. But then we have to find balance and calm, and we have to go to the gym, and we have to feed people, and then we have to feed ourselves, and we have to not eat too much, not eat too little, not forget to call your mom. Don't forget to be a valued member of society. Did you remember to vote? Did you remember to wash your hair? You got to volunteer. Literally, this is impossible.
So the goal is not to say everyone needs to post more. We hand every kid a tablet.
My point is the normal person in America does not have the privilege to opt out. We don't have the privilege because our kids' sports is on there. Our job stuff is on there. If you want to apply for a job now, you have to match every single resume and cover letter to the specific words in every job listing so the AI won't kick you out, and it's going to anyway.
Why do you think people romanticize the idea of opting out? And because I think about the people who are saying these messages and then the hundreds of people in my feed who are sharing these messages.
Yep.
Even though it's not a thing. Just why are they sharing that? Why do they romanticize that if it's not actually realistic?
I think because there are still spaces where it is seen. I think it's a status symbol. I don't think anyone's saying that out loud.
So just saying at some point I wish to drive a Ferrari. You could say at some point I wish to not be so much online.
Yeah, I think there's this idea that if you get to remove yourself from the rat race, retirement, going to Italy for a week, I have made the choice not to engage in this tomfoolery.
Sure.
And that is a thing you can do.
It's
I have
goal.
Done it.
It's a goal. It's an aspirational thing that people are trying to manifest by
and there's
being crazy online and sharing 15 memes about it in a row.
And there's so much messaging that social media is bad, that these systems are bad. We're actually watching a lot of it be really bad. We're watching a lot of people get really disenfranchised by it. I think we all want to live in a more equitable world. And I feel like this is another spot where we all want to be higher up than we are so that we don't have to do these things.
Yeah, and I have empathy for that. I also, it's confusing why you would post 5 Instagram stories in a row on that unless you're posting that and then people are liking those posts and you feel seen and you're like, oh yeah, we're all in it together. But maybe you're the one that needs to put your phone down and go outside.
Yeah, I think if I think about that from the perspective of someone who feels like they have to be online and spends as little time as possible and has a value system around these systems are harmful, they are not helpful, right? I think the more you can get that message out and the more you proliferate it, I think we have been really told, especially in America, that the power of our voices together is really important, right? Yeah. And so to act like that's a small minority of people on the internet, I think it does us all a disservice. There are a lot of people who, but in that same way, there's a lot of people that don't want to work in corporate, that don't want to work as a freelancer, that don't want to, we all have the lanes on the highway that we stay in, right? And I think also nostalgia is powerful. And I think a lot of us really romanticize that 80 kids idea of you run outside and play in the fields until the lights come on and then you got to go home, right? Yeah. I think especially as Xennial, those of us in that time frame, we really do look backwards with rose-colored glasses and really want something different.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we all individually lack the creativity to create the thing that we need.
Yeah.
Because
statistically, people tend to remember their childhood as a better time. That is literally true of all generations. And I think that...
And that's a statistic. That doesn't include like trauma informed care or anything
Correct.
like that.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that, because
I'm just validating what you're saying in that, I mean, it's literally the platform of Make America Great Again.
Yeah.
When you can look back and be like, well, what is there? What is so great? And it's like, oh, it's that statistically proven notion that people tend to remember the past as better than it was. And I think so. And I personally believe that the future can be better than the past, but that we have a role in it.
Yeah.
And that part of that role is maybe not shaming the people next to you who are out to eat and the mom and dad are looking exhausted and those kiddos are eating chicken nuggets and French fries and they're watching Bluey on their iPad and they're having a great time tonight. They're having a great time. And that's awesome.
Together. And there will be other ways that family uses to connect with each other. And it doesn't have to be at the place that you see it. You're not the witness. You are not the witness to anyone's life except your people's.
Yeah.
And so walking around and acting like you're the sole proprietor of what is good and what is evil is not helpful.
Even they're not going to do it like you did it. And that's okay.
I hope not.
Me too.
Oh my God, quit talking to people, randos. Like, just stop. Ew.
So we always end each of these podcasts talking about something you're really into right now. Jenny Swan, what are you really into right now?
Grogu.
I believe you're referring to Baby Yoda's actual name. Is that correct?
That is correct. So this week, in the Star Wars universe, of which I live and wear pants, The Mandalorian and Grogu hit theaters. We went to the IMAX version with 3D glasses.
Oh, because you're wearing Rebel Alliance pants.
Oh, I am.
For those of you on the podcast, which is why she said.
And I am.
Where's the pants?
Yeah. So we went to the movie.
Opening night.
Bought the IMAX tickets, did the whole shebang. I had already seen the pre-Fury, everyone's comments, all the anger before the movie, just from the people that previewed it, right?
Some of those OG Star Wars fans sure hate their franchise, don't they? They love to hate it.
So I would argue that there's a couple of reasons for that, mostly because people who know the full storyline get to have opinions on it. Like people who have been there since the beginning, who have imbibed all the stories, who know them frontward and backwards and know the intent of the author and on and on and on. They get to have opinions about it. Also, the general public is not one of those people, myself included. So I'm a little girl who watched Return of the Jedi when I was a little person, and like me and my friends would play Star Wars on the playground, and Han Solo was always my boyfriend, and Luke Skywalker was always my little girlfriend's boyfriend, and like off we went. So I'm in the camp, just to be clear for all the Star Wars fans who are listening, I am in the campy camp. Like I'm like, this is a fun story.
And it was
fun.
And
there's a little camp, and this is supposed to be like steampunk sci-fi fun. And it was. I was delighted. I thought that the throwbacks to all the different franchises and series that you pulled out and showed me later, because I didn't even notice a lot of them because I don't do that. Like I just have an experience and I just do a thing. Made it even more fun. It was really fun for me as a Disney person, Disney adult. I will own that moniker. To watch it come out at the parks. And so Pedro Pascal was at Disneyland and they unfurled all this food, which looks amazing. I am a huge Disney influencer content person. I've been watching it all week and I cannot wait to go to Disneyland.
Because they changed one of the Ride Smugglers Run to actually be piloted or you're assisted in piloted with the Mandalorian and with Grogu.
It's the Mandalorian
so you've
now.
been consuming.
Yep.
So that's been some of the content that you've been sharing.
I haven't been watching the ride. I could. You can all go watch the ride. Go watch it
I watched
happen.
The entire thing.
You can go watch how to get Yoda as the cockpit driver. Like, you can figure all this out. I don't watch the ride because, again, I do not like to be influenced for my first experience of a thing.
You want to, so, and we have not done any spoiler alerts on this, but I will say, last night the kids and I watched the second Super Mario movie. And
what does that have to do with Grogu?
As an original Mario fan, an OG fan, when the first Super Mario movie came out a couple years ago.
Okay.
I was so excited to see it, and I had a ton of opinions, and I thought it was really good.
Yep.
And the second movie, did you hear what I was telling our oldest about it today?
I did not.
I was like, well, what did you think about it, Dad? Because there's been a lot of criticism of that movie.
Oh, I didn't know.
And I understand that criticism as like an original diehard fan. And what I told our oldest was that first movie was for all the fans. That was for me, as someone in their 40s who grew up watching Mario. This latest movie, it's for the kids. And it uses the same characters and stuff, but it wasn't trying to pay tribute to all of the things forever. And I think in the same regard, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, like, that is pissing off some of these original Star Wars fans that you just defended. It is very much like for everyone. It is for the kids too. And that's okay. And I can hold both of those things.
Sure. I just was very delighted for like 30 full minutes of that little pumpkin squeaking through the forest. Like, I am a huge Baby Yoda fan. Have been since the Mandalorian series started. So that was, and it's been very fun to like watch just the interviews that Pedro did. He did a huge shout out to Minneapolis. When, again, Jason Matheson, obviously I love his content, and he did an interview with him, and he prefers Matt's Bar Juicy Lucy over 5'8". Like, he is a huge fan of the Guthrie, which is near and dear to our heart. And so, yeah, it was just a fun week to be a Disney adult, just to be honest. Like, just a super fun week. It was super great content. I just, like, everyone did such a fantastic job. Like, I cannot wait to get back to Anaheim. But yeah, so that's what I was doing this week. What about you?
Well, as we discussed, I was a big consumer of the Artemis space launch.
Yeah.
But I didn't just watch it all by myself. Who did I watch it with?
With our dog, Berdie.
With our dog, our little Yorkie puppy, who sat in my lap pretty much and watched it. And I took pictures of her. Yeah. And you can see that. Actually, I have a shirt on today that says, what does it say?
Ask me about my dog's Instagram.
Yeah, so it's Lil Miss Berdie is her Instagram. And if you'd like to see pictures of Berdie watching the mission to the moon, you can go look at her Instagram, which is very exciting.
Yeah, we'll repost them at the Cave Project so you can find them.
So I had a particularly meeting heavy day on Wednesday. And you and I were sitting on the couch afterwards that night, and I was just like sitting there. And sometimes when I haven't really used my creative brain during the day, like I have to make something.
Yeah.
And I spent 45 minutes and I vibe coded an experience where you can help our dog go to space. And we will put the link in the show notes, but it was so easy to literally open a prompt in Lovable, Lovable, and just say, my dog is sad she didn't get to go to the moon. I want to create an experience on mobile where you can help her go to the moon. I want one part where you can move her around with your finger and rainbows trail her, which is where the whole thing started.
Yeah.
And then I made a picture of her in a spacesuit, and then I was like, oh, we need like a MIDI song that feels like old school, like a Game Boy kind of song, you know?
Yeah.
And I made that in Suno, and then I got some feedback from you that it like took too long to get through it, and you had to pick all 10 things versus like picking a couple. And I just made some tweaks, and it was so fun. And it's been really fun to share with other people. And they're like, how did you make that?
Oh
and
my gosh, it was so fun at a birthday party we were at this weekend where you passed it off, and the squealing was just, it was delightful.
And so
squealing's a strong word, but they were just like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had a conversation with our middle kid about AI and creativity, and like was that creative or not? Because I had to have the idea of like, my dog is sad she didn't go to the moon, for starters, which she is, so obviously. And then I want rainbows to come out when you move around. I saw someone else had done that with their cat. And then I wanted to have a countdown, and then I made the song, and then I made the, and like, but I didn't write the song. I didn't write the code. But I did use the tools available to knit it all together. And I remember, like, because you were just like, you were really quiet for 45 minutes, and then bing, you send a text to the group family text, and you're like, here, help Berdie go to space, you know?
Yeah.
And it was creative, and it was fun, and I got a lot of energy from it. So I vibe coded some other things that are both fun and dumb, and this is one of the ones I'm most proud of right now.
It's super cool. It was a super fun time. Yeah. So, Greg, this is a big week for this part of the podcast.
Oh, is it?
It is. Because last week we talked about caveproject.co.
We did.
And we said, it's coming. And what else is there to say? But now it's here.
It's live. We have a trademark. Thanks to you.
We do. The Cave Project is trademarked.
It's trademarked. We have a fully functional episode by episode website with a heavy, great about that explains why we're called the Cave Project, which maybe we should do an entire episode on, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And you should go check it out. And if you're not already signed up for us on email, go there. You want to follow us on social? Go there.
You want to read our Substack? Go there.
Go there.
You want to go hang out on Mastodon? Go there. All of our social links are at the bottom of the landing page. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and your mom's house.
Oh, shit.
Just kidding. Not actually at your mom's house. She hates the internet.
If the Cave Project is at your mom's house, please write in and let us know.
That's really funny. And your mom's house.
And your mom's
I'm
house.
basically a 14-year-old football kid now. So anyway.
See you on the internet.
Bye.